Hello friend, welcome back to my channel. It's Tim here. It's been a little while and I'm so glad to bring you another tutorial. This will be part 1 of Mountain Hideaway, which will be broken into 3 separate episodes. Over this year I've been working on a lot of new tutorials and videos, and I've got one coming out hopefully soon where I'm talking about what's new in my life and kind of where I want to take this channel. I'm editing videos a little bit differently now too, so I'm really hoping that'll be able to get more of them done more quickly from now on, so that's exciting. I hope you're doing well. A lot has happened in this last year, so I'm really looking forward to catching up with you. In this video, I'll be guiding you through the steps to create this sunset mountain-inspired landscape painting. We're going to be covering a lot of fun painting topics in this video, including a mini tutorial within a tutorial for the mountain. I'm also really excited to finally be able to break things down a little bit more in depth with this series. Here are the main brushes that we're going to be using, which are all available in the default Procreate library, except for the damp brush, which is still available, I believe, in the Pocket Procreate version, but I do have a video up on my channel on how to recreate a version of this brush from scratch from the default library, so if you need it, definitely go check it out. Here are the hex codes, which are all listed out in expanded palette view in order of rows. If you need help on how to input hex codes into the color palette, I do have a video up on my channel on that as well. I'm using an Apple Pencil Generation 2, and I have my color screen settings set to P2. The first step of our tutorial will be to take a screenshot of our trace outline layer. You're going to import the layer onto a blank square size canvas, and I would go ahead and turn the screenshot layer opacity down like this. And then you're going to fit the canvas to the size of the screen with the corners. And then on a new blank layer above the screenshot with the color black, you're going to trace a new outline layer over top of it. And for this, I would recommend using the technical pen. I find this the easiest tool to use for this. If you have any questions, let me know below. Please feel free to take any breaks that you might need along the way. And when you're ready, let's begin. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn our trace layer down. Let's turn it down to around 10%. Let's go ahead and add a new layer, and we're going to put that layer underneath of the trace outline layer. Now let's go ahead and switch over to using the paintbrush, and we're going to use the soft brush with this one. I feel like it'll be a little bit easier. We're going to do about 10% brush size with full opacity. Let's go ahead and grab the third color in the first row, that color yellow, and right down the center here, right around here, let's paint a straight line across, holding it down to straighten the line out just like that. And then on top of it, we're going to paint another straight line across, holding it down to straighten it out. And then we're going to repeat this same step again, creating a third line on the top, and that third line should cross over the top of this peak right here just a little bit. Now let's go ahead and grab the fourth color in the first row. Let's go ahead and starting here, let's paint another straight line across, just like this. Then let's grab the fifth color in the first row, the color pink. And we're going to overlap that orange here just a little bit, painting another straight line across. Now let's grab the sixth color in the first row. And we're going to overlap that pink just a little bit here. Just like that. Kind of cutting that pink color in half just a little bit. Now let's grab the first color in the sixth row, and let's finish off the edge here, kind of in that halfway point again, cutting that purple in half, holding it down to straighten it out. And now we've got the top of the sky. And now we're going to go ahead and duplicate this layer. Let's go ahead and click the mouse button right here, and we're going to turn on snapping. We're going to turn on snapping and magnetics, actually. So let's go ahead and flip this vertically. I'm going to zoom back here, and we're going to move this layer so it kind of lines up with the bottom right there. And actually, I'm going to move it down just a little bit, just so that edge of yellow here is in line up with that edge of the cabin roof. And that way we get a nice yellow gradient. We're going to go ahead and merge those two layers together. Careful not to merge it into your trace outline. We're going to go ahead and use Gaussian blur. Let's blur that to around 32%. Now let's paint the mountains. Let's go ahead and add a new layer. We're going to zoom up here. Let's switch over to using the paintbrush now with the technical pen. Let's use the second color in the second row. And now starting here on this left-hand side, I'm actually going to close our palette out for a moment. Let's start to trace over our mountain outline just like this. We're going to move the screen here and zoom up just a little bit. Finishing that off on the right-hand side edge. We're going to go ahead and actually right around the middle of the painting, we're going to paint a straight line across here, just like this, and then holding it down to straighten it out. And let's use color drop and fill it in. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a new layer. And we're going to switch over to using the burnt tree brush now. It's one of my absolute favorite brushes for texture. So let's open our color palette again. And I have so many color palettes there, as you can tell. Let's go ahead and use the third color in the second row. And let's do like 6% brush size with around 86% or so opacity. And we're going to actually, so the first layer is going to be giving the entire mountain texture. We're not going to worry about highlighting or shadows yet. So we're going to just start here. And we're going to start by painting just the left side of the mountain first. We're going to use right to left paint strokes, kind of at a diagonal, all kind of varying in position. That way nothing is too harsh. I'm going to put another peak right here. Just working our way down, making sure nothing is too much the same. Mountains are definitely nothing. You definitely don't want straight lines on mountains. I'm kind of going at a diagonal, but I'm kind of like where I'm placing my brush at, I'm kind of just being random about it and kind of varying my pressure here and there too. Just kind of being random about where I place this. But basically we're just creating texture on the left side. And then we're going to come back here and I'm going to put just a little bit of texture there on the right-hand side. Not being too particular or picky yet about our placement. We just want our mountain to have a little bit of base texture. Just kind of filling the whole thing in just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and turn this layer way down. Let's turn it down to like 21% looks good. Now let's go ahead and add a new layer. And let's shrink our brush just a little bit. Let's shrink it to 5%. Now, still using the same color, this is where we're really going to carve out the mountain. And I'm going to have our light source coming from this direction. So we're going to start on that left side again. And I'm going to just carve a peak in there. Kind of just repeating the same thing where we're not being too like particular about where the strokes go. Kind of varying it up and randomizing it. I am kind of going off at a direction kind of like this rather than straight down because that'll create like a pyramid shape and we definitely want to avoid that. So the next peak, actually let's put a little one right there. Yeah. Our next peak's going to be right here. So we're kind of follow that line up down. kind of going off just a little bit. And I'm going to kind of connect those two areas a little bit here, but just kind of making sure they go off at an angle rather than straight down. This one, I think let's just put a little bit of color there, and let's just move on to the next one. We're going to kind of, we'll keep that area in shadow here. So we're going to move over, and let's put our next peak there. And I'm going to kind of carve into that area just a little bit. Just like that. Kind of just making it nice and random there. Making sure this edge kind of is at a tilt, but nothing is like that. We want to avoid too much of the same. Oops. Let's come up here. And actually, I think I'm going to repeat what we did on that other side. Just put a little bit right there. And let's put a little more on that side. Maybe there's some scraggly areas up there that are a little bit more steep. And what I'm trying to do too is preserve a little bit of the depth. We're not going to worry about it too much here because this is just the base layer. And actually, I'm just going to fill that in, kind of connecting it right there at the bottom. If you see anything you want to change, like let's carve that out a little bit right there. Yeah, that looks good. Let's go ahead and turn this layer down. Let's turn it down to like 67% or so, and now it's time to paint the highlights. Let's add a new layer. Let's do around 7% brush size with around 87% or so opacity. Let's go ahead and grab the fourth color in the second row, that tan taupe shade. Starting right here on this left-hand side again, we're going to just highlight kind of sporadically, kind of taking nice broad strokes with light hand pressure. And I'm going to kind of repeat what I did before, making sure our areas are not too similar and not connected too much, like broken up. So let's go ahead and create another peak here. Let's do, and then kind of fill it out just a little bit more there at the bottom. I'm going to kind of move that over there in that diagonal shape. Let's go ahead and create another peak there. Let's create another little one right there. Now we're going to start the next peak there. Just making sure we break up our line, making sure nothing is too straight line-y, if that's a word, straight line-y. Oh my goodness. And then just following this down, just kind of breaking up where we place the highlight. Let's highlight this peak and then this peak. And I am making sure to preserve the depth. That is the one thing. Still trying to preserve the shadowed areas and not over highlight. Just like that. We're going to go ahead and turn this layer down quite a bit. Let's turn it down to let's do 69%. And now we're going to add some color in the shadowed areas. Let's go ahead and add a new layer, and now we're going to paint the shadows. So let's grab the first color in the second row, that nice shade of blue. Now here in the shadowed parts, we're going to go the opposite direction, but I'm making sure not to completely get rid of the dark areas. We're just adding just a little bit of color here. And I know it looks crazy here, but we'll fix that. You'll see what we're doing. I'm just kind of filling in those spaces there, just like that. Making sure to leave just a little bit of depth here and there. Now, let's go ahead and turn this layer way down. Let's turn it down to 30% or so, and we've got a nice little shadow color for our mountain. Now let's add some snow. So let's go ahead and add our next layer, which will be our snow. So let's go ahead and turn our size down just a little bit. Let's go to like 4%. And let's just do full opacity. Let's grab the 5th color in the 2nd row. Now, think of it like we're putting snow on the mountain rather than trying to carve the mountain out with the snow. I feel like that is the best way to think of it. So starting here at the peak, we're going to add just varying amounts of snow right along that edge we created here, just like that. I'm going to drag just this down just a little bit. And you'll want to make sure that the heaviest concentration of white is right around the peak, because that'll be where the snow collects naturally. So now let's go to the next peak. Kind of just following those nice areas we created earlier. And actually, let's drag a little bit of the snow downwards, just a little bit, just minimally. Yeah. Let's go ahead and start the next peak here. Just right around the edge. Ooh, let's put a little on that one. Let's put a little bit up here, and then I'm going to kind of drag it down and then work our way down that edge, kind of making sure to break up still where we're placing the brush, just nice and random. Now moving on to these last couple of peaks. And if you and this is a fun little trick, if you start curving the brush just a little bit, you can get a really nice sharp angle. So let's add some of these sharp angles periodically back into the rest of our peaks here, just kind of adding some nice detail for our mountain. Just like that, which gives us a nice mountain range there. So let's go ahead and turn this layer down just a little bit. Let's turn it down to like 88%. Now in this next section, we're going to do a little bit of color balancing so it matches with the background a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and have you guys merge the mountain layers together, but be careful not to merge it into the background or the trace outline layer, only the mountain layers together. Let's go ahead and create a duplicate of this layer. Let's grab the 3rd color in the 1st row, and we're going to go ahead and color drop that over the mountain. Let's go ahead and turn this layer down quite a bit. Let's turn it down to like 12%. Now we're going to create a duplicate of the yellow layer. Let's go ahead and grab the 2nd color in the 1st row, color white, and we're going to color drop that over the mountain. And now let's turn the opacity of this new layer down to around 5%. So now that we've got the main part of our mountain created, we're going to go ahead and clean up the edges. Let's go ahead and merge the 3 mountain layers together. Now, I'm going to go ahead and turn the trace outline layer off for a moment. Now, let's go ahead and use the water pen with the eraser tool. And let's do like 5% brush size, full opacity. And we're actually going to go along the edge here and carve out our mountain. Apparently my Apple Pencil is not happy, so I'll have to plug that in here. And we're going to go in and just kind of soften those points up and create some nice textures around the edges. And it kind of helps to clean up any areas that the burnt tree brush has overlapped the edges. This is where you can really go in and create some nice mountain peaks. Just carve that out nice right there. Trying to really avoid straight lines. And clean up any overlap. Just like that. And before we paint the fog, I just wanted to say thank you so much for supporting my channel and this video. If you're enjoying the tutorial so far, I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel out, and I hope you're enjoying the tutorial so far. Let me know below what your favorite part about landscape painting is. Now, let's go ahead and add a new layer, and we're going to go ahead and use the soft brush again. Let's go to let's do 9% brush size. Open the palette again. Let's use the third color in the first row, the color yellow. And we're gonna paint a stripe of color across the middle there, just like that, kind of blurring that bottom edge. Now let's go ahead and use Gaussian blur. And we're gonna blur that to around 20%. And then we're going to create a duplicate of this layer. So we have two yellow layers now. I'm actually going to use Gaussian blur again. And let's blur that up to around 41%. And now we're going to turn this copy layer down. Let's turn it down to around 47%, which will help blur out the bottom edge there. Now let's go ahead and add one more new layer. Let's grab the second color in the first row, the color white, and we're going to shrink our brush. Let's shrink it to 6%, and right around the middle area there, which is the bottom of the mountain, we're going to paint a straight line. Now let's use Gaussian blur. Let's blur that to around 39%, and then we're going to drop the opacity down. Let's drop it down to 60%, which creates a really nice little mountain for us. Now let's paint the trees. In this upcoming section, we'll be using up and down zigzag paint strokes that are random and close together of varying heights to create our trees, and then we'll be using the same paintbrush with the same paint strokes to then blend them out with. This is one of my favorite methods to create really easy background trees. So let's go ahead and add a new layer. And we are going to grab the paintbrush with the water pen. Let's do 10% brush size with full opacity. And let's go ahead and grab the sixth color in the third row. And starting on the left-hand side, along this bottom edge here, we're going to paint a straight line across, just connecting that area right there. And then starting on the top edge of the bush outline right there, we're going to go ahead and follow that line down. Don't have to be too careful along that edge line, and then working our way across. And then using color drop, we're going to go ahead and fill that in. And then let's fill in this little space right here. Now, on this top edge here that we just filled in, starting right there, using up and down zigzag paint strokes of varying heights, we're going to follow the edge across, but not quite going up to the top quite yet. Still allowing just a little bit of space. We're just going to follow that line up downwards, kind of going down to create a little valley, and then working our way back up. Now let's go ahead and grab the third color in the third row. And now along this top edge here where the tree line is, we're just going to connect the two areas using zigzag paint strokes again, just making sure to use varying heights, kind of just random, to create the impression of some trees. Going down and then working our way back up to finish that off. Let's go ahead and switch over to the blending tool now with the water pen. Let's do 10% brush size with full opacity. Now, starting along this top edge here, we're going to blend with the same paint strokes, working our way across, and we're going to work in layers, kind of allowing some of the misty area to show through, creating a really nice transparency with the background. Then adding or taking away any areas that you might like, then just following the edge down and then back up. And starting right here in the middle, we're going to drag that medium color up into the now lighter trees, and then dragging some of that darker color, kind of creating a middle layer of trees right there, but not going above the trees we just made. It creates such a nice transparency with the background. And then blending across, and then we're going to work our way across one last time for a third layer of trees. Work our way from the bottom upwards, dragging that bottom color, overlapping the middle area of trees, which will create some really nice depth, but definitely make sure to let a little bit of the middle area still show through. Repeating those same paint strokes. Create a lot of depth doing this method. With this, it brings us to the end of part 1, and we'll continue in part 2. In the meantime, I do have many other painting tutorials up on my channel to discover, so definitely go check those out. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Let me know below if you have any questions. And until next time, friend, happy painting.